You wake up. It is dark. Really dark. You try to open your eyes, but you suddenly realize something very important. You do not have eyelids. You do not have eyes. You do not even have a face. You look down at your hands, or at least where your hands should be. They are not hands. They are swirling, chaotic clouds of purple and black smoke barely holding themselves together. You feel cold. You feel incredibly heavy. But you are also floating. You are suspended inside a massive, glowing glass tank filled with some kind of thick liquid. Congratulations. You have no memory of who you are. You have no memory of your childhood. You do not know your name. You do not know your favorite color. You are currently the most terrifying yet completely useless thing on the entire planet. Most people are born crying in a hospital. You are born as a highly classified, massively expensive Kingdom Corporation science experiment in a secret underground laboratory. Outside your glass tank, people in white lab coats are taking notes. They are pointing at you. They are whispering to each other with very serious expressions. You try to wave at them to say hello. You want to show them you are friendly. Your arm stretches forward, immediately loses its physical shape, and violently splatters against the inside of the glass like a wet paper towel made of dark energy. The scientists scream. They take several steps back. One of them aggressively writes down on a clipboard that you are highly hostile and dangerous. You are not hostile. You are not dangerous. You are just completely uncoordinated. You are basically a giant lava lamp of bad vibes. As the days go by, things get incredibly weird. You start to figure out how to hold your shape. It is not easy. Breathing is easy for regular humans. For you, it takes maximum psychological concentration just to not dissolve into a puddle of dark mist on the floor. You discover you have powers. You are a radiant, but your powers are not fun. You cannot shoot fire from your hands, you cannot run at the speed of sound, you cannot heal people. Your power is pure, unfiltered darkness. They put you in a testing room. They want to see what you can do. You see a coffee cup resting on a scientist's control desk behind a protective window. You want to knock it over. Just a little prank. You focus your energy. You try to create a tiny push. Instead, you release a paranoia orb. The orb expands instantly. It engulfs the entire observation room. It plunges the laboratory into absolute, terrifying, pitch-black darkness. It is not just the absence of light. It is a darkness that messes with their minds. People are panicking. The scientists are screaming. Someone trips over a rolling chair and crashes into a filing cabinet. Someone else spills hot coffee all over the main security control panel. The fire alarms start blaring. The emergency sprinklers turn on. It is total, unmitigated chaos. What do? You just float there inside your containment cell, watching the disaster unfold. Beautiful plan, terrible execution. But you quickly realize you cannot stay in this lab forever. You do not belong in a glass tube. You are not a zoo animal. You feel a pull, a strange, magnetic tug deep in your mind. The shadows outside are calling you, so you decide to leave. You do not break the glass. Breaking glass is loud. Breaking glass is for amateurs. You look at the hallway outside the testing room. You focus on the floor tiles. You feel yourself unspooling. You are tearing your own body apart at the molecular level. It hurts. It really, really hurts. It feels like stepping on a Lego, but with your entire soul. The world around you folds inward, and then you reappear in the hallway. You just teleported. Shrouded step. It is the coolest thing you have ever done. You feel like an absolute ninja. You feel unstoppable. You are the master of the shadows. You try to do it again to get past a heavy, locked security door at the end of the hall. You focus on the space you assume is on the other side. You concentrate. You teleport. You end up directly inside a janitor's closet. You are surrounded by wet mops, empty plastic buckets, and you smell faintly of industrial floor bleach. Grand escape is immediately ruined by poor map awareness. You try again. You focus harder. You teleport. This time you end up halfway inside a solid concrete wall. You are completely stuck. Your top half is sticking out into the main lobby, and your bottom half is trapped in the structural foundation of the building. You look like a video game character that glitched out of the map boundaries. A passing Kingdom security guard walking his patrol route sees you. He stops. He stares at your faceless, glowing blue eyes sticking out of the concrete. He drops his heavy flashlight, turns around, and runs away screaming for his life. You eventually manage to pull your molecules free and make it out into the actual world. Life on the outside is not exactly easy for a faceless shadow monster. You become an urban legend. People whisper about the ghost in the alleys. The phantom of the city. Teenagers dare each other to go into abandoned buildings looking for you. But the truth is a lot less glamorous than the rumors. You are not haunting anyone. You are just extremely confused and trying to keep your physical body from disintegrating into thin air. Every time you lose focus, every time you get tired, you start falling apart. Your arms turn to smoke, your legs fade away. You realize you need an anchor. You need something to keep your mind occupied, something repetitive, something calming that requires exact precision. You discover knitting. Yes, knitting. You break into an abandoned shipping warehouse near the docks. You steal a pair of wooden knitting needles and several balls of premium blue yarn from a closed craft store. You sit in the absolute darkness of the warehouse, looking exactly like the terrifying Grim Reaper, knitting a lovely oversized pair of winter socks. If the heavily armed Kingdom security forces hunting you saw you right now, it would ruin your menacing reputation completely. The Phantom of the Shadows is doing arts and crafts, but it works. The rhythmic clicking of the wooden needles keeps you completely sane. It holds your atoms together. One night, you are sitting on the cold rooftop of the warehouse, just finishing up a really nice scarf, when the Valorant protocol finally tracks you down. A woman in a green mask walks out of the shadows. Viper. She looks at you. When you look back at her, you feel a strange, painful spark in your broken memory. She knows you. She looks at you and her cold, calculating eyes actually soften for a fraction of a second. She calls you an old friend. You do not remember her. You search your empty brain, but there is nothing there. She looks at you like you are a living tragedy. You look at her and wonder if she would like to wear the blue scarf you just knitted. Walking up behind her is a large, heavily muscled man wearing an orange beret, Brimstone. He does not look scared of you. He does not point a gun at you. He looks at your swirling shadow form like a tired dad who just found another weird stray animal in the backyard and realizes he has to bring it inside the house. They offer you a place. They offer you a purpose. They promise to help you find out who you used to be. You accept the offer, mostly because they mention they have a really nice, dark, temperature-controlled armory where you can sit quietly without people bothering you. They give you a call sign. Omen. It fits perfectly. You are the bad omen. You are the thing people fear in the dark. They take you to their massive, highly fun secret headquarters. You meet the other agents. Phoenix thinks you are an actual demon. He refuses to walk past you in the hallway without turning all the lights on. Cypher tries to keep tabs on you. He thinks he is a master of surveillance. He installs hidden cameras in the ceiling of your quarters. You find them immediately. Instead of breaking them, you just use Shrouded Step to teleport directly behind Cypher while he is drinking his morning tea in the cafeteria. You stand there in total silence until he notices you. He drops his tea, he stops putting cameras in your room. Sage tries to heal you. She uses her glowing radiant energy, hoping to fix your broken body. But you are not injured. You are just fundamentally wrong. Her healing magic just makes you feel incredibly itchy and weird. You politely ask her to never do it again. Then, they put you in the training simulator. They hand you a Phantom assault rifle. It is matte black. It has a suppressor. You hold it in your shadowy hands and it feels strangely familiar, like an extension of your own arm. The simulation starts. Holographic Kingdom targets pop up across a fake urban environment. The other agents run and gun. Jet flies through the air. Neon slides around corners. They are loud. They are flashy. You are not loud. You do not run like a maniac. You are a tactician. You are a horror movie villain operating on pure logic. You throw a dark cover over the sniper window, blocking their line of sight with a massive sphere of hollow shadows. You throw another one blocking the main hallway choke point. The enemy holograms are completely blind. They do not know where to look. Then, you teleport. You do not teleport in front of them. You appear directly behind the primary target. You do not even shoot immediately. You just tap the holographic guard on the shoulder. It completely startled in its artificial programming, and you blast it. You teleport again. You are suddenly on the high ground, standing on a shipping crate. You drop a paranoia blast through a solid wall. The holographic enemies on the other side clutch their heads, their programming completely breaking down as they are blinded and deafened by terrifying visions of their worst fears. You casually walk through the wall of smoke and eliminate them one by one. You do not waste bullets. You do not miss. Brimstone is watching from the high-tech control room, nodding in deep approval. Viper is completely silent, just watching you work. Phoenix is complaining loudly over the comms that your playstyle is incredibly creepy and unfair. You do not care. You finally know what you are good at. You are the ultimate predator. You are the thing that goes bump in the night. For a long time, things are good. You go on real missions all over the world. You scare the living daylights out of Kingdom facility guards. You blind entire enemy squads while your team moves in to secure the objective. You are the silent anchor of the Valorant team. When everyone else is panicking, when explosions are going off and people are shouting, you are perfectly calm. You are just shadows and cold, calculated logic. But every good story needs a massive, terrifying conflict, and yours is waiting in the deserts of Morocco. The mission is on a map they call Bind. It is a massive Kingdom radianite refinery built into the sand and rock. The objective is to secure a highly volatile, massively valuable radianite shipment before the Omega Earth Strike Team can steal it. You drop in from the ship. The Moroccan sun is beating down relentlessly. It is incredibly bright. It is incredibly hot. You absolutely hate the sun. You prefer the rain. You prefer the shadows. The heat makes your physical form feel like it is boiling away into the atmosphere. You are sweating, but you do not even have sweat glands. The mission goes completely wrong almost immediately. It is an ambush, a trap. The Omega forces were waiting for you. They have superior numbers, they have heavy machine guns, they have the high ground secured. As soon as your team steps into the courtyard, all hell breaks loose. Brimstone takes a heavy hit to his shoulder armor and goes down hard behind a metal shipping container. Phoenix tries to push out to create space, gets completely shut down by an enemy sniper sitting in the tower, and has to use his ultimate ability just to survive getting shot to pieces. He comes back gasping for air. Your team is entirely pinned down behind a stack of green radianite crates. Heavy caliber bullets are tearing through the metal walls of your cover. Concrete dust is flying everywhere. The noise is deafening. The enemy squad is slowly closing in from all sides, coordinating their push perfectly. Brimstone is bleeding. He is yelling into his tactical radio for an emergency extraction. He is calling for the dropship to come down and get you out. The pilot responds through the static. The airspace is locked down. It is too hot to land. They cannot risk the ship. It looks like the absolute end of the line. Your team is going to be completely wiped out in the sand. Phoenix drops his empty magazine. He looks at you. He asks what the grand tactical plan is. He expects you to throw a smoke or find a miraculous escape route. You look at the enemy positions closing in. You look at the sun-baked sand reflecting the terrible light. You look at your own hands, swirling with violent, restless dark energy. You do not have a tactical escape plan. You are tired of running. You are going to do something completely reckless. You tell Brimstone and Phoenix to cover their ears and close their eyes. You step out from behind the solid metal cover. The enemy forces immediately see you. They focus all their heavy fire directly on you. Dozens of bullets rip through your dark blue cloak. They tear right through your shadowy, unstable form. It hurts. It threatens to break your concentration and scatter your atoms across the desert. But you do not bleed. You do not fall. You are already broken, and a few bullets are not going to stop you. You raise both of your hands. You dig deep into the absolute bottomless well of your dark power. You use paranoia. But you do not just shoot a quick, tactical burst like you do in training. You unleash a massive, horrifying tidal wave of pure nightmare energy. The dark purple wave expands outward, washing over the entire enemy front line. It passes through the concrete walls. It passes through their armor. The heavily armed guards drop their weapons immediately. They fall to their knees in the sand. They are grabbing their helmets, screaming in absolute, unadulterated terror. The darkness is inside their minds, showing them their absolute worst fears, but that is not enough to win. The enemy sniper is still safe up in the distant tower. The heavy gunners are still moving in from the back flank, unaffected by the blast. It is time to show them what you really are. You use your ultimate ability. From the shadows, you reach up and pull your heavy hood down over your glowing face. You completely let go of your physical form. You stop trying to hold yourself together. You dissolve completely into the ground beneath you. The chaotic, loud world around you completely disappears. The gunfire stops. The screaming stops. You enter the shadow realm. There is no sound here. There is no light. There is no heat from the terrible sun. It is just endless, beautiful, comforting cold. The map reveals itself to your mind as a network of shadows and lines. You travel across the entire Moroccan battlefield in a fraction of an instant. You bypass their barricades. You bypass their perfectly set up crossfires. You bypass the sniper's line of sight. You choose your destination carefully. You aim for the spot directly behind the enemy team commander, who is standing near the secure Radianite shipment. Back in the real world, the battlefield suddenly goes completely, unnervingly silent. A massive, terrifying layer of darkness instantly covers the enemy team's tactical radar. The sun seems to dim. The enemy commander is standing near the payload, shouting angry orders into his radio. He thinks he is winning the firefight. He thinks he has the famous Valorant protocol completely trapped in a corner. Then, the temperature directly behind him drops by 40 degrees in a single second. The shadows behind his boots start to swirl violently. The darkness pulls together, rising up from the sand, taking a physical, towering shape. He hears the sound, that terrifying, deep, ripping sound of reality itself being torn open. He stops shouting into his radio. He freezes. He turns around incredibly slowly. You are fully formed. You are standing right over him, towering in the sudden darkness. Your 3 glowing blue eye slits are staring directly down into his soul. You are a nightmare made physical. You do not yell at him. You do not make a dramatic, heroic speech about saving the world. You just lean in close to his face and whisper with a voice that sounds like grinding stones. Watch them run. Before he can even raise his high-tech rifle, you drop him to the ground. The rest of the Omega Earth forces turn around, completely panicked by the sudden loss of their commander. The guy they thought was pinned down half a mile away behind metal crates is suddenly standing right in their own backline, directly next to their main objective. It is pure unfiltered chaos. You teleport to the top of the nearby shipping crates, moving faster than they can track. You drop a dark cover right on top of the advancing heavy gunners. They are instantly trapped inside a massive sphere of total blindness. They cannot see their own hands. You drop down silently into the smoke with them. They start firing their heavy weapons blindly in every single direction, terrified out of their minds. They end up shooting each other's armor. You just walk calmly through the chaotic smoke, eliminating them one by one in absolute surgical silence. You are not fighting a tactical war anymore. You are playing a survival horror game, and you are the monster hunting them in the dark. By the time Brimstone and Phoenix manage to push forward out of their cover and cross the courtyard, The massive firefight is already completely over. The enemy squad is entirely wiped out or fleeing into the desert. The valuable radionite shipment is completely secure. The courtyard is dead silent, except for the wind blowing sand across the concrete. Phoenix walks up, keeping his rifle raised, looking at the unconscious and terrified guards scattered everywhere across the facility. He looks at you standing quietly in the shade. He looks genuinely terrified of you. Brimstone limps over, holding his bleeding shoulder. He opens his mouth, probably preparing to scold you for breaking standard team formation and taking a massively reckless risk without clearing it with command first. But then he looks at the perfectly secured objective. He looks at the total destruction you caused without making a single sound. He looks at your glowing eyes. He closes his mouth, sighs heavily, adjusts his orange beret, and just calls the pilot for the extraction ship. You stand in the cool shadows of the massive refinery walls, watching the Valorant dropship finally land on the landing pad, blowing sand everywhere. You still do not remember your past. You still do not know who you were before you woke up in that glass tank. You still do not have a real face. You are still a walking, breathing tragedy held together by sheer willpower, dark energy, and a secret knitting hobby. But as you step onto the extraction ship and take your seat in the darkest corner of the cabin, you realize something very important. You might be a monster. You might be a terrible mistake of Kingdom science, but you are their monster. You belong here with this crazy team. And as long as there are shadows in the world, your enemies are never ever going to see you coming.